Hello and welcome to another painting video. Today we're going to be painting our Tech Priest Enginseer for our Kasrkin project. You can see that this is not a normal Tech Priest. It's a librarian from the Indomitus box. I think it's from Indomitus. I think they look freaking awesome. We're going to start with our skin tone of pale flesh. But you know, it's a big cloaked dude. And we don't need, the other one's kind of weird looking. I like that he has a cloak on him, like the Kasrkin have like that cool green cloak. So we're gonna do it this way. So paint his face, and while that is drying, we will get our German camo beige World War II color, and that's going to be the undershirt. Get my I don't need it. I was like, I should get my reference guy out, but I'm slacking on my painting. But we're just gonna get his shirt with this. And that's gonna be like the only thing that's, well, technically like the undersuit would be brown, this color. So just anywhere where the armor is exposed between the things, like we'll get this undersuit here. Make it all the right color of tan. Then we got a lot of green to do. A whole lot of green. But now that that skin tone had a little bit of time to dry, we're just gonna hit it again. It's because we want that to be dry when we hit it with our wash. So we're gonna start with the uniform green as our base coat for the pretty much a big chunk of this. Actually, I do need my reference model. Where is he? Hello. There we go. I forget what I've painted on like the backpacks and stuff. So I go back to this model that I painted a long time ago to kind of see where I did stuff. So we're gonna get here, get our brush wet a little bit, thin out this paint, and then we're gonna go to town over pretty much everything except the belts and like the little like danglies. But the armor, oh wait, no, I forgot about this. I had a plan. This is what happens when you don't think of your plans. So I'm just gonna kind of kill that out with a wet brush, because you don't need that. But the armor will be blue. The armor is gonna be green still, so we can go through all of that. So we're just gonna carefully go through the armor. I was like, this is too much green, and I was thinking about it as I was doing it. I was like, oh no, I had an idea. So right now we're just gonna get the armor bits and any parts of like the backpack and stuff that have the green on it. So just go through here, be careful of those tan areas. Don't want to mess that up. So yeah, this is gonna be like a tech priest that has fully engulfed himself in the Kasrkin. He's from Cadia. He saw what happened there, and he wants to be part of his brothers still, even though he is part of the Adeptus Mechanicus. His heart is still with Cadia. His heart stands with Cadia. So to honor him, they gave him armor. I don't know. That's just the that's his lore that I'm giving him right now. So let's get all of this. Sorry for the 3D printer noises. I'm always 3D printing something. I'll give you a little printing a giant, like 1/1 scale hotshot las gun. Like, this thing's gonna be cool because I have like a wall in my game room that has a bunch of like sci-fi and fantasy weapons in there, a bunch of Star Wars guns, and stuff like that. Aliens, not Star Trek. What else do I have in there? It's aliens. Oh, Mass Effect. It's one of them, and Halo. I have some Halo guns in there. Because they're cool. Now, I have a bolt gun right now, but I don't like the bolt gun. It doesn't look cool. It's not as cool as the hotshot las gun will look when it's all printed up. Okay, so that, and then for the backpack, we're gonna get kind of all the outside here. A little like shell of the thing. It's okay if we get a little bit on this because it's going to be painted over with a darker color, so we'll be fine if we hit some of this stuff on accident. Okay, I think that's good, and I think that's all the green areas. I like this like green black camo situation that's going on there. I'm obviously not gonna go with it, but it's a neat little effect there with like super duper duper watered down green. So now we're gonna go with leather brown for all the leather goods. And I know my boots are black on my Kasrkin, but this is like an armor on him, so that's why those are gonna be that color. So we're just gonna bring this through here. Hit all the spots that are straps and holsters and pouches and all that stuff. I guess I probably could have put like more pouches on him because I have a whole bunch from the kit. I didn't want to load him up too much, but still cool. I was gonna kind of reach back here. Just pardon the camera angle while it's. What's that? What are you doing? My doggy is snarfing. Let me see, and then the gloves we will also get. Which actually I think the gloves are black. I'm making all sorts of mistakes today. See what happens when you take a little break? You like forget everything and then you have to kind of refigure everything out. So the gloves are gonna be black. I forgot about that. So we'll let that dry. I think that's gonna be all of that. Okay, now for the cloak, told you I had a plan. It was gonna be the red cloak still. It was still gonna be a red cloak. So we're gonna start with a, let's start with a dark, that's a really dark red. Oh, let's start with a fur brown color. It's like a reddish brown. And we'll start that to like kind of help tint the cloak towards red. And we'll bring our red over later. I just think this will probably be a better situation for us in the long run if we kind of do it in steps. So we're just gonna go through here, start hitting up all these bits of cloak, doing our best to avoid all the areas that we've already painted. You know the drill by now. Hold your breath where necessary. Remember to breathe. I'm not, this is not an instructional video. This is what I'm doing, not what to do. So don't take what I do as the gospel. Definitely don't. But you could apply things that I do here to your own projects. So let's go here. I like that this is base coating pretty well. It's not a complete disaster. Trying our best here to avoid the mask, since the mask is black. But we're gonna have to go back through and touch up our black anyway, like we've already kind of established. So this is gonna be like that red Tech Priest cloak that the Adeptus Mechanicus is famous for. This covers really well, this Army Painter color. Surprised, because a lot of the other Army Painter paints that I have used, they're kind of really watery in my experience. So this is being pleasantly nice. So just gonna keep going across here. Should probably have this on the stand. My hand's starting to hurt. There you go, it's a lot more comfortable. Rather than flipping around this model all the time. Shout out to my boy Pardana for hooking me up with these handles. I use them all the time. We gotta get in this back that has like all these like little spindles coming off of it. So I'm just gonna kind of float around there with the brush and stab it in where I can. Now we're gonna get the bottom here. This coat doesn't have to be the most solid coat in the world. It's just an undercoat for us so that the red applies easier. So you want to make sure wherever you are going to put that red that you did a good job covering. But for stuff like the inside and stuff like that, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Definitely gonna have to redo some of the browns and stuff. We gotta get here because you can see that side. Okay. So that is our red. While that is drying, just when I should do this. Okay, so they have a white kind of gear symbol over there on their hoods. So we're gonna try to attempt that on this guy. So the paint needs to be dry, which I think on the head it is. Try to get our brush not as bad as it is. And so we're gonna paint a fairly consistent stripe down the hood, down the front of the hood. We are gonna hit this hand, so we're just gonna have to accept that right now. But let's fill there. And then, pardon the camera angle right now, I just have to get in there. So that is going to be part one there. And now I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. Part two, where we're going to be painting the actual kind of the teeth of the gear. So we're trying to just keep our brush moving in one direction, making sure to do. Now we're gonna have to clean that up, but we can clean that up when we get to the red. We just want to make sure that we have the thickness that we need for the gears, or whatever the term is in Warhammer terms. Do it right there. Then we will go to our deep red for the rest of the cape. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit the top first to kind of finish that out. Actually, no, we need to wait for that to dry. So we're gonna take our red and we're gonna paint this. What we could have done is hit it with a wash first to help darken the dark areas, but I think I want to do a black wash over this whole thing anyway to lighten this red, because this red is kind of strong. So it's looking kind of Christmassy. It's kind of unintentional, like he's got the red, the green, the white. And sometimes that'll happen. Be like, oops, I accidentally painted him like a Christmas tree. I did not mean to do that. But here we are. We just keep moving. We trust the process. So you see there when I did the chest piece, I didn't color all the way in. I left some of that undercoat on there. And we're gonna kind of do that in some of these spots to get those recess areas a little bit different of a color, just to provide some variety to our painting here. Like I said, we're definitely gonna have to clean up the leathers, so we can kind of just let it be right now how it is. It's the Santa Tech Priest. Run for your lives. Okay, now we'll go into that red, because now that white has definitely had time to dry. And then I'm just gonna go there, clean up the cogness. And while we have this little brush, we're also gonna just quickly just fix the hood here. Then we'll go back to our brown and do the cleanup of that while we still have the wet paint to be able to do stuff with. Fix the back of the belt here. Okay. Now I'm going to go to black just to fix the gloves that I painted mistakenly. So we're just going to go over this whole thing here. And then we're going to clean up these things because, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're all going to be metallic colored, but just in case, let's do some little cleaning there. Okay. So now we're going to get this Reichland Flesh Shade to get the face really fast, just to hit the inside of the face here. Give that plenty of time to dry. Gonna go back to the black and fix the glove because we had hit it a lot when we were painting all those colors on him. So just get okay. And just to add a little bit more interest, we can take the leather color and also just get the little ties on the jacket here. And then we're gonna go to our metallic color, which is chainmail. I was like, which is metallic, but it's not. It's chainmail. Okay. So we're still gonna use this little brush because all this stuff is kind of like tucked in and out for now. So we're gonna get this belt buckle. Going to get this hose that he's got going on right here. I'm just gonna get the parts that are like really close to the model with this little brush, and then we'll switch to the bigger brush to speed it up a bit. But for all these, just gonna be careful. You don't want to splash either. You want to be careful because this paint is really watery. You don't want it to splash everywhere on the model, especially like when you're coming off the model. It has a tendency to flick your end of your brush, which isn't the end of the world for this metallic color, especially like on the armor bits. It'll make it look like it's chipped on the armor, but just, you know, practicing brush control as best you can will help with all your projects, not just like the one you're working on right now. And that's kind of the goal, is to get better in general. So now we're gonna get a big chunk of this backpack situation here. Those are probably wires, but you can get that. Get these little raised bits. Is it a servo skull? It is a servo skull. So for the servo skull, we're just gonna get the little piece that's on it, and we'll paint the skull later. Get this big old mechanical arm situation. It's got vehicles to fix. And this can be kind of like a dry brush kind of situation where you're putting it on this. It doesn't have to be the most solid of paint jobs because it is like worn old metal for his weapon here. I'm gonna do a lot of bits here. And I'm trying not to have a lot of gold in my army, if not any, so just trying to pick out the metallic bits and get those with this right now. Gotta get the inside, the back sides of these little hoses here. Just in case. Hey, puppy. Woo. That's why having your model built good is important, because it could have broken right there, but it didn't. Super glue for the win. Just like little bells and whistles in here that we want to hit with this metallic as well. I'm gonna go back to the black really quick just to get the bolt pistol that's here. Okay, I think, well, let's get, oh, we have the white down, so we can get the servo skull. And we're just gonna paint this like this white color, and then we'll hit it with a contrast paint after. But we also have the red down, so we can get like its big old like servo eyes and stuff like that. Okay, now we're gonna go to this Seraphim Sepia wash for the chest. This will get, for all our tans, we're gonna use this wash on it to give it a more tanny tan color, just in those little spots. And then the rest of it is going to get a black wash. So we're gonna go to our Nuln oil here, which looks like I'm gonna be needing more at some point. And we're gonna start at the bottom because that's where we kind of finished painting last. So, I mean first, so it'll be the driest bit. We're gonna get all over everything. The metallics, the robes, the armor, everything. We make this model now look like a soldier. Get that, we're in there. Just get back there. Squeeze it in where we can to get all this, and then for this stuff, I like to go with the flow of the cape. So try to brush in that direction. Here, just get back there. Get up here now. Just try not to let it sit and get trapped in certain places if you're trying to be a little more careful about where it lands. Definitely don't want to hit that Seraphim Sepia that we've already put down because it'll ruin that wash. So just kind of maneuver around. For the head, I'm only going to get like the back part of the head, not the front part, where we painted all that white. And then we can get the backpack here. And this is just gonna grunge up this equipment, and this guy he's been fighting for so long. Just get all that all gunky and murky. Get this stuff here. Okay. Oh boy. We have a cat. Okay, so now we would start going into our camo patterns and all that stuff and highlighting, but it needs to dry. But we can do some stuff. So we're gonna get our gray here and we're gonna highlight the black on our guy while that stuff is kind of drying. So we're just gonna kind of edge highlight a little bit, or like, I say edge highlight, but like real painters would be like, that's not edge highlighting, what are you doing? But, you know, I'm just kind of I'm doing my best. That's what I'm doing. I'm just gonna kind of just pick out like little sections of the model that maybe are picking up a little bit more of the light, just giving them a little extra attention, just to so it's not like just a flat black panel of armor and all that, like just giving it a little bit more character stuff to do. Same thing for like the staff here. We can kind of just pick out a couple of these and just give it a little bit of a gray touch. And then for the bolt pistol, just kind of right there on the back. Nothing spectacular, nothing crazy. Now we're gonna pick up our tan from the beginning. If I can find it here, I think it's right here. Actually, no, we're not doing that. We're taking a middle stone color here, and we're gonna kind of go back into the tan and just give it a, like again, just a little teeny bit of highlight, just to pick out some edges, and like it'll also like we use it to kind of clean up our mistakes a bit. So that, and then there. So now let's see what happens. Let's take our gray and we're gonna start kind of sketching in our Kasrkin camo pattern onto the surfaces here. And I say they're just like little mountains, little M's that you can put stuff on. Little jaggedy shapes. The backpack does not have them though. Backpack stays plain. So then we will then go into our whole red color. And that is the inside of the camo pattern. So let's get that on our brush here. And then we just go on the inside, leaving a little gray border of the shape that you're doing. And that gives you this. You could do this before you did the washing step. I like to do it after because it does make it stand out a lot more. Otherwise it's a lot more kind of subdued when you do it the other way. So now he's got Kasrkin patterns on him. And then we can go in with our red again. And then just kind of gently, or not so gently, kind of sketch in some highlights on the edges of surfaces here where things are a little bit more. And when things got messy too, you can kind of go in here and kind of clean that up, just so it's not as drippy. Drippy's not good. So we're just kind of cleaning up in there. Getting on the bottom here. Especially like on the top here on the chest, where we want to like bring our focus up here more to the, we want to bring our eyes up more to the top of the model. You want to hit this so it's like the brightest up there. Should like probably on this like corner here. Just clean up some of this like messiness in there. On the back, see how we had like it kind of pooled there. You just kind of paint it to look like a burn-ish. Just kind of go into those big flat areas, pick out some edges, do like an edge right here. Those like popped out edges. Like that, get that edge. Okay, and then lastly, just to get that little guy, the little skeleton horde for the servo skull. Get him all skulled up. And that is how we paint our Tech Priest Enginseer for our Kasrkin army. As always, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.